Why come Trump can't just say, man, look, Elon Musk has been a great friend of my campaign and I want to do him a favor. I want him to have bragging rights in this country that we helped his people. Why come he just can't say that? Trump, why can't you be a straight shooter and just say, hey, Elon's my guy. I love Elon. We love Elon. He's a great guy. I love Elon. And we're doing him a favor. We're going to bring in some of his friends and cousins, extended family. How come you just can't say that? Then we could all go hypocritical, but it makes sense.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
Any questions, please?
Mr. President, you welcome white Afrikaner refugees here. Can you explain to Americans why it's appropriate to welcome white Afrikaners here when other refugees like Afghans, Venezuelans, Haitians have all had their protected status revoked?
Well, this is a group, NBC, that is truly fake news. They ask a lot of questions in a very pointed way. They're not questions, they're statements. We've had tremendous complaints about Africa, about other countries too, from people. They say there's a lot of bad things going on in Africa, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. When you say we don't take others, all you have to do is take a look at the southern border. We let 21 million people come through our border, totally unchecked, totally unvetted. They came from all over the world. In many cases, they're criminals. They come from prisons. They come from mental institutions. They come from street gangs. They're drug dealers. So don't say that we didn't take them. We take them. We're trying to get them out as fast as we can. And we're doing record business on that. And we just won a big case where we're allowed to send back hundreds of criminals to Venezuela. Just won that today in the Supreme Court. I'm happy to hear. But we do have a lot of people are very concerned with regard to South Africa, and that's really the purpose of the meeting, and we'll see how that turns out. But we have many people that feel they're being persecuted, and they're coming to the United States. So we take from many locations if we feel there's persecution or genocide going on. And we had a lot of people. I must tell you, Mr. President, we have had a tremendous number of people, especially since they've seen this. Generally, they're white farmers, and they're fleeing South Africa, and it's a very sad thing to see. But I hope we can have an explanation of that, because I know you don't want that. And it's a kind of a different meeting. Normally we have meetings, we talk about trade, and we'll be talking about trade and other things. But that certainly will be a subject that comes up. Yeah.
Whether you call it a genocide or not, the facts are.
Yeah, well, you know what, guys? Let's just be clear, man. There is no genocide going on in South Africa of white farmers. I got numbers. I mean, numbers would tell us, right? That's how you determine what a genocide. Like, you can kind of determine by the number of deaths, right? Would you consider our fentanyl crisis a genocide? You probably wouldn't, right? But anyway, official statistics from the South African Police Service from 2014 to 2024 report around 50 to 70 farmers murdered annually, which is a small fraction of the country's 20,000 yearly homicides. Look, 50 to 70 white farmers have been killed annually per year in a range of different things. Not like, oh, we got to go kill White Farmers Day. People break in, trying to steal stuff. There's this domestic disputes. There are all types of whatever. Like, if you die and you're a farmer, that doesn't mean someone said, I'm going to go kill white farmers today. That's not what it's saying. But we are saying there's 20,000 homicides in the country every year. And we're talking about a very small fraction. And this is just points like, I don't know if Trump figured this out. I don't know. I mean, he's a smart guy. He figures this out, right? He got smart people, right? Do you realize how racist it is to say, oh no, the white farmers are under attack, when they only represent like 2% of the deaths? And I always get these, I gotta keep saying, the Jason Whitlock conservatives, the Candace Owens conservatives, the Officer Tatum conservatives, the RG3 conservatives, that'll say, but what about the whites? And they always say, you're always going after and protecting the blacks. And it's all trumped up and everything is hyped up. I just told you, only 50 to 70 white farmers are killed annually since from 2014 to 2024. But you're not concerned about the 20,000 homicides that are not white farmers. I got a feeling a large amount of those homicides are blacks. And you got nothing to say, oh, black Africans. Black Africans. And there's no, oh my God, genocide. Oh my God, what's happening? It's like the people that are making this an issue, don't realize they are just outing themselves as the biggest racist there could possibly be. Like, this is so obvious. I don't think you could be worse. I don't think you could do a worse job of explaining your point than being on this hill. Being on this hill, down on this hill, man, looks horrible. And I don't want it. And I want black people to get the hell out the Democratic Party. When they hear Trump say dumb things like, this is not dumb, this is racist. This is white supremacist shit right here. That's what this is. This doesn't help my argument. But then I remember, Tim, I'm not telling anybody to become a Republican, become an independent, which doesn't put you in the Republican Party to begin with, so I'm good. So I'm not telling you to go be a Trumper. I'm telling you not to be either, okay? So those are the numbers, guys. This is what they're talking about. We're talking about less than 5, not even 50 out of 20,000. Is that 1%? I don't even know, man. Somebody do the math. What's the percentage? We'll take the highest number of 70 farmers annually out of 20,000 deaths. Is that a point? Is that a point, or is it less than 1%? Less than 1% of the overall homicides? Come Trump can't just say, man, look, Elon Musk has been a great friend of my campaign, and I want to do him a favor. I want him to have bragging rights in this country that we helped his people. Why come he just can't say that? Trump, why can't you be a straight shooter and just say, hey, Elon's my guy. I love Elon. We love Elon. He's a great guy. I love Elon. And we're doing him a favor. We're going to bring in some of his friends and cousins, extended family. Why come he just can't say that? Then we could all go hypocritical, but it makes sense. If someone spent millions of dollars to help me win an election and then worked with me in my campaign or in my administration and took the hit and is being hated by the country, and now he's got to pull away, and I want to give him a little going away present, which is to give him bragging rights in his home country of birth, that it was all for something, and now he's been able to help people, and he'll go down in history as being influential in getting this done. Why can't Trump be honest like that? Sounds almost like Trump is turning into a politician. Jake Tapper is about to tarnish himself very badly here. Hope Shermichael doesn't follow him. Shermichael, don't do it. Don't do it. I think this is just Scott Jennings, who's about to step all the way in it.
Thing to see, but I hope we can have an explanation of that, because I know you don't want that. And it's a kind of a different meeting. Normally we have meetings, we talk about trade, and we'll be talking about trade and other things. But that certainly will be a subject that comes up, yeah.
Whether you call it a genocide or not, the facts are white farmers in South Africa have been murdered. A lot of people have tried to cover this up. A lot of people in, I think, media in the United States have tried to cover it up.
So have black farmers and black people. Why are you only focusing on the white farmers? Why, Scott?
Obviously, the South African government doesn't want to talk about it, so it was kind of a boss move for Donald Trump to roll that television in there today. And I think even the
boss move. I think you mispronounced bonehead. Yeah, I think you got your words mixed.
The agriculture minister in the Oval Office confirmed that these people are, in fact, being murdered. So my question is, if it's not a genocide today, how many do we want to let get murdered so that people around here can be satisfied? Okay, now it's a genocide. Let's let a few more. I don't understand.
Well, more than 50. Yeah, more than 50 might be a good benchmark, because there have been tens of thousands of people murdered other places, and you didn't bat an eye nor shed a tear or have a monologue prepared, Scott. Sudan civil war in 2023 to the present has displaced over 8 million people, with estimates of 15,000 to 150,000 deaths. And I didn't hear you talk about it, Scott. That's right there in Sudan. There's been no media coverage, basically, here in the West. The New York Times gave it a minimal attention compared to Israeli-Palestine or Ukraine. And why is it so underreported? Well, conflict dynamics, no direct U.S. involvement, sort of like us with South Africa. We don't rock with South Africa like that. That's what the whole meeting is about. That's the rub of this, guys. Like, the South African president came there and they were supposed to talk trade and economic relations, because we haven't been rocking with them. But we care about this. We care about this. We care about the 50 to 70. No zeros. Well, 1 0. And Scott's got a monologue already locked and loaded in his brain on this one.
We're talking about 50-something people they were trying to let in, and everybody's losing their mind after we let in 20 million illegal immigrants over the last several years. The president is trying to prevent genocide from happening.
That's funny. He just used the number of how many people annually that are white farmers that are being so-called genocided, which I don't even think you can use the term genocide. I mean, we're talking about the number of people that are shot in Atlanta or Chicago on July weekend. I mean, that's really what we're doing here. Do you realize that? And I'm not saying that's good, like it's bad when people get killed anywhere, but 50 people a year, do you know how happy Memphis would be if they had those type of numbers? I mean, 50 to 70 white farmers, put the word black in front of it, and that's a pretty damn good year. We're lighting fireworks, we're celebrating, we're making music. Kendrick Lamar's gonna drop a mixtape or a track to it. Like, yo, that's what's up. We celebrating 50 to 70. Only 50 to 70 black people died all year and insert name of state. But Scott wants to call it a genocide, and the only reason why Scott's calling it a genocide is because they're not just that they're white, but because Elon and Trump. It sounds kind of hacky, Scott.
Happening any further to these people. They are clearly being discriminated against. Some have been murdered. This was an interesting spectacle in the Oval Office today, but it had to happen because I don't think anybody was telling the truth about it.
I told the truth. You're not telling the truth. What I just told you is true. What about Ethiopia, Scott? Since we care about Africa now, between 2020 and 2022, an estimated 300,000, 600,000 Ethiopians were killed, mostly civilians, through violence, starvation, and disease. U.S. media covered it sporadically, often focusing on U.S. diplomatic angles rather than the scale of atrocities. Why did we underreport it? Why didn't we cover it? Is it because we don't care about Ethiopians, which are Africans? Well, it's a remote location. It's not near us. Restricted media access and a focus on U.S.-centric stories like COVID-19 or Afghanistan withdrawal took the limelight. Like, we just didn't have a news cycle for it. We had other stuff to cover. And frankly, the American appetite or interest in the story is so low, media is like, we got to cover this instead. But you know what did not happen? Biden was in office. Biden didn't talk about it either. So that's why I'm saying, and when I say the reason why they're focusing on this is not just that they're white, that's true, but there are white people being killed other places, and they're not focused on that either. But they're focused on this because it's South African. That's why I'm making it the Elon Musk tie-in. But the fact that they're white, of course, is that they're white South Africans, because they're South Africans. The Elon obviously doesn't give a shit about, because about 19,000 of them, was it 19, 20,000? Yeah, because 19,000 black South Africans are killed every year, and Elon ain't talking about that.
Whether you call it a genocide or not, the facts are white farmers in South Africa have been murdered.
Mr. President, if you had to wind all of those tapes properly, you will see I'm the biggest target of that rebel rouse. Number one for over 10 years, Mr. Malema. In fact, the first time I met him, he was in the youth league with that gentleman, and look how he's changed. Right. We have too many deaths, but it's not only white farmers, it's across the board.
This is a billionaire out of Africa, actually South Africa, who's speaking here. He's telling Trump right here, hey, we got way more killings than we need, and it's not just white folks, not just white farmers in general. That's why we're here, to get your help. We don't need you to come here and tell us we're killing white farmers when they represent less than 1% of the deaths of people being killed in Africa, South Africa. Let's see how Trump responds to all the logic and science and facts being dropped by a rich white guy.
We need technological help. We need Starlink at every little police station. We need drones. I actually got drones donated for the peace parks to stop elephant and rhino poaching. And his predecessor stopped the importation because he said the United States would spy on them. I mean, US basics, the ridicule. So if you can help us. Remember, sir, you and I lived in New York in the 70s. We never thought New York could be what it became. 2 commissioners, a tough mayor. We need your help to stop this awful killing. But it's across the board. Ernie is right now building a house in George. I'm building 3 cottages for my grandchildren on a farm outside Graaff-Reinet. I often go to bed without locking the door. And we have a serious problem with illegal aliens who stream across the border. And if you really look at our statistics, a lot of these murders, First, it's unemployment and illegal aliens. And then I met Vice President Vance many years ago, the Charlie Rose show. My wife loved the book. And she reminded me this morning that you emphasized the devastation that occurs when big companies leave towns and cities, and there's a culture of dependency that develops. I remember you discussing it. Now that's our problem. If we don't get our economy to grow, the culture of dependency and the lawlessness will increase. I've been against apartheid all my life, and I'm their number one target. Please just Google my name and Malema. You'll see it, sir.
Yeah.
He marched on the
But
farm.
the crime is bad.
The crime is terrible, sir, but Mr. Steenhuisen won't admit to it, but he runs the Western Cape, where I live. And the biggest murder rate is in the Cape Flats. Gangs. We've got gang warfare. Like your M33, whatever these guys. We've got equivalents there. But we need your help, sir. And we need Elon technology.
Yeah, listen to the guy. The guy's telling you, hey, man, it's not what you think. We got gangs, we got illegal aliens, we have high unemployment. This is what's driving our murders. Not white farmers trying to disintegrate, get rid of white farmers. That's not what our problem is. That's not it. And Trump, his only response is, but yeah, it's white people dying though, right? Folks, I also want to remind you that Trump withdrew. He canceled much needed aid to South Africa. Come on. Trump canceled the aid to South Africa. Then he offered refuge to white minority Afrikaners, expelled the country's ambassador, and criticized his genocide court case against Israel. Yeah, because see, South Africa was challenging Israel for the genocide being created or being perpetuated on Palestinians in Gaza. So that's really what this is all about. So it's all about paying back South Africa because they had the gall, the unmitigated gall, to challenge Israel in international court for their treatment of Palestinians. And now they're trying to do a false equivalency and compare 50 to 70 white farmers in South Africa to the thousands of Gazans that are being starved to death and killed right now. Okay, so like I said, it's a horrible look for Trump. I guess this is his way of doing a solid for Israel while also pandering to his base and knowing that the so-called independent conservative media that of the certain ilk, certain kinds of independent conservative media are gonna fall in line and gonna continue to lie for him. You know, like Benny Johnson and those others. There's several others. Yeah. All right, guys. It is what you think it is. It's what's going on. And like I said, if you wanted an explanation or you wanted a demonstration of just how bad the supremacy is, here you go. We had 20,000 people being killed in South Africa every year. And the only group they care about are the 50 to 70 white farmers added to 20,000. Mic drop, baby. Perfect. You made it to the end of the video. I appreciate you. Now, Google thinks this next video is going to be perfect for you. It's right up your alley. So click the next video, watch that with me, and let's keep this politics going. You're built for this.